We see solar, batteries, and electrification really being required. It's no longer just solar with paired storage. We also need to find creative ways to use that electricity and get the returns. Simply put, we're going from like a transactional sales model to consultative. We're really needing to be lifelong energy partners. It's going to force us to grow up a little bit. It's going to separate, the strong from the weak. I also think that it's going to clarify the need for new financing products.
Hey, I'm super excited. I've got my old friend, Andrew Krause here. We are talking again in this learning in the open mentality here at RE Plus Anaheim 2024. Andrew, so good to have you with me here today. Good to reconnect and see you. Last time we were together, we were out shooting and that was super fun. So how are you?
I'm doing good, man. I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me on.
It's a pleasure.
It's been a fascinating RE Plus so far. I think key theme here is that the industry is needing to be transformed, but we're not quite sure how yet. So
yeah, tell me a little bit about that, because you have how many people on staff?
We're just under 40.
I mean, 40 full-time equivalent in the state of California is not an easy burden to carry. And we've had a pretty bumpy ride over the last 12 months of being in the solar business. Tell us a little bit on the first hand about how it's been for you.
So we basically have two forces here. One is headwinds, one is tailwinds kind of thinking. On the headwind side, it's helping to create more value for customers and helping them capture that. Basically, the market requirements are just getting harder. And so, we see solar, batteries, and electrification really being required. It's no longer just solar with paired storage. We also need to find creative ways to use that electricity and get the returns. In terms of other things, I think operational efficiency has really been an interesting key trend. We've invested a lot in systems for managing data and helping track customers and also understand our processes better. I mean, we're tracking the ops team and high levels of detail, and so that's helped us to maneuver. Yeah. I don't think we would have done as well without that, actually.
Well, I mean, market conditions are an interesting roller coaster, because sometimes the hardest times make you lean and stronger, and then you can really spring forward when the opportunities present themselves. So coming through the NEM 2 situation, and now we're in NEM 3 land, you're really finding, well, actually, why don't you tell me what you're finding when you're dealing with homeowners or small business owners in your area of Northern California?
Sure. And we're pretty exclusively focused on homes. And so, I think that's been the right choice for us. Again, going back to changing requirements, homeowners are showing up with a lot of new questions. What would happen if I got a heat pump? Hey, I'm thinking about, driving a car. Can I drive it on sunshine? Can my car power my home? Should I wait on the stationary battery? It's really kind of been a confluence of new things. And so, I see it as basically an order of magnitude harder to be a consultative salesperson today.
Because of the increase of options, right?
Yeah, and information required. And I don't think that the industry's retooled fast enough to help our guys answer those questions.
Got it.
We're working very diligently to try to be on the leading edge, not the bleeding edge of innovation.
Right.
But, it's simply put, we're going from like a transactional sales model to consultative. We're really needing to be lifelong energy partners.
Yeah. Wow. That's a new world, honestly, because having looked at the genesis of solar and residential over the last 20 years, it really did become toward the end of the teens a very transactional, hard-hitting, kitchen table kind of transaction. But now it feels like with the addition of some regulatory changes and also the options of how people might be thinking about not only generation, but use, it's complicating the question quite a bit.
I think there's going to be some growing pains, but I'm actually pretty excited that this will sort out the high quality installers. And, if we can meet the moment, retool, give it enough time, I think we're probably 12 to 18 months from finding some kind of new equilibrium. Very strongly believe that's going to be solar, batteries, and electrification in the home and in the car to help people, capture a lot of the value they're creating. We just have to have our team prepared to answer new questions, feel good about it, feel confident. We're also looking to vendors to see kind of who's got the right roadmap. Should we standardize to a single ecosystem? Should we stay diverse? But yeah, it's I think the brighter days are ahead of us for sure. I think it's actually going to come back in a pretty serious way. It's just getting through the gauntlet, you know?
Yeah, I've got an arithmetic question, which is, I mean, we understand pretty well, at least in the NEM2 environment, we understood the economics of just putting solar on, right? Because we just had the IRR down and everything made sense, and you could frankly securitize that, and we saw a lot of people get at it and do a great job with it. With this additional complications, or I should say complexity to these transactions, it would also seem to me, if you're starting to deal so much with the load and additional potential generation sources like your car or whatever it might be, are we talking about potentially increasing yields as well?
It's interesting. There's a lot of interaction effect here. I mean, a couple things is we have to reach new levels of precision. I mean, right now we're billing hourly. We're billing monthly for gas. As we
the homeowner.
Correct.
Okay, yeah.
So we need to at least get good at doing hourly schedules for the fully electrified home to look at what the bill impacts would be.
Yeah.
The other thing we're seeing is there's a lot more strategies available. So there's not such a dominant strategy, which has really been, hey, size to 100% of your past loads. That's kind of been like the rule of thumb.
Right.
Now there's many different ways to do sizing. They all, compete with each other.
And they interact, don't they?
Yeah, they do. And, the homeowners have different preferences. So if you're chasing payback, you might have, strategy A.
Yeah.
If you're chasing resilience, it might be strategy B.
Right.
That's getting pretty complex to model. There's just a lot of combinations of things. But back to your point, I think this is, again, it's going to force us to grow up a little bit. It's going to separate, the strong from the weak. I also think that it's going to clarify the need for new financing products.
Yes. Yeah. It was sort of to my question around yield, right? Because it feels a little bit like if we are going to be so embedded, for lack of a better word, really being part and parcel of the built environment in a way we've never been before, I would think that the yield would improve potentially if you're having a lot of other additional levers that you can pull in the financial equation.
I think it can, but there's a lot more risk involved with getting it wrong. So it's just, can we... can we thread the needle and get there? Yeah, exactly. Data. And this is back to my sort of what's helped us is we've been building systems and models before we needed them to kind of smooth out this path. And that proactivity on our part has come back and paid dividends for us.
Fantastic. How long have you been doing that modeling process?
Oh boy, we started in about 2020, and we started on things like standardizing how we collect bills from customers.
Right. And you're using Green Button, or you're using another way to get
Utility API.
Okay, yeah, they're good.
So,
right.
It's a Salesforce integrated version of Utility API.
Slick. Okay.
So yeah, we've just been tinkering a bunch, and all that incremental innovation has really been, again, coming back to pay dividends. When sales go down, if we can maintain efficiency and maintain our cost, we got through the whole thing without having to lay anybody off, which has been
the whole thing. COVID thing.
Well, just the NEM2 shift.
Oh,
a lot of companies had to lay people.
That was more tectonic for you all than COVID.
COVID was really good for us. I mean, people were staying at home, big bills, still NEM2.
Oh yeah. Okay. So. That makes sense. Well, it's awesome to catch up with you. It sounds like you're in a really good place. And, also, we also share the love of supporting others and supporting entrepreneurs be the brightest bulb they can be. So I'm freaking glad to see you as always. And I'm looking forward to hanging out more in Sonoma.
Yeah, man. We'll have to do lunch.
Right on. Thanks so much. Great to see you, Andrew.
Bye.
Good morning. Just about to start a bunch of interviews with old friends and new friends looking at innovation in solar, energy storage, EV charging, etc. And I want to be very clear, no one is paying us to do this. So these are going to be published on Suncast and Solar Academy and on some LinkedIn posts, but these are all not paid for by anyone. And these are all just things that are interesting to us. And we want to follow the theme of learning in the open so that we can accelerate everyone's knowledge and really break down the walls of an asynchronous learning process so that everyone has the knowledge to perform at the top speed and deploy solar, energy storage, EV charging, and green hydrogen at higher velocity.